Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Hi, Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to the Slippery Soap. So I want to get into this part, this article that came out just the other day on the Courier Mail, talking about. So this is the commission and the report that's come out about the Bondi terror attack. It happened in only December of last year, 2025. So they've got this Royal Commission. This initial report's come out. It seems like no one's really being held accountable. No one's looking at this. There's no transparency, that's for sure, from reading this report, reading this article about it. There's no transparency. No one's being held accountable. It's not like, oh, there's a few things that we could have done quite a bit better, actually. And if we had have taken these steps, preventative measures, which, doesn't take a real expert to figure out, well, then we could have prevented 15 deaths, 15 murders. That's my take on the whole thing. But anyway, this is Australia. This is our bureaucrats in government at the moment. So a Royal Commissioner's initial findings into Bondi's terror attack says no agency has advised of changes that would have stopped it. Jewish leaders have responded. That's a bit... anyway, I can't even get into it. The Royal Commissioner's interim findings into Bondi's terror attack killing 15 innocent people, says no agency has advised of changes that could have prevented it. So they mightn't have advised you. They mightn't have said, yep, these are changes we could have. But I bet you anyone, when you see what happened, when you read about the events that occurred, you can pick apart where the deficiencies in New South Wales Police's response and what could have been done beforehand, what preventative measures could have been put in place, and they would have prevented at least some of the murders, if not prevented it completely. And it wouldn't have been that expensive to do, in my opinion. Royal Commissioner Virginia Bell's interim report with 14 recommendations, many redacted, because, Australia, we like transparency. Our government likes to tell us everything except for those things that it doesn't want to tell us, so it always redacts everything. So it was handed to Governor-General Sam Mostyn at Government House on Thursday morning. It's because they like all the pomp and the ceremony. They like to be seen to be doing the right thing, as long as they're seen to be doing the right thing, but we're not actually doing the right thing. It's just all about the ceremony. So among its most startling findings, Ms. Bell's report said no federal or state agency advised of urgent legislative or regulatory reforms required to prevent, detect, or respond to an attack of a similar nature to the Bondi massacre. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, there's no federal or state agency has advised of urgent legislative or regulatory reforms required. That's perfectly fine. So then you'll admit if there's no other reforms that were needed, so obviously everything is already in place. We already have the legislation and regulation in place where we could have prevented it. So is anyone being held accountable? Because that's what this suggests to me. Going on, says no agency has suggested that the current legislative framework prevented intelligence or law enforcement agencies from taking action. So nothing prevented them from taking action. So they've just royally screwed up. New South Wales Police should be answering for this. There is someone in command down at Bondi who should have been doing a risk assessment, should have been looking at this, the events that have gone on previous years, over the last couple of years, since Hamas attacked Israel, butchered, 1,000 of their citizens, something like that, took all those hostages, and then here in Australia, we had all these protests going on, anti-Semitic protests, anti-Israel protests going on in the streets for some reason. We've imported all these people that think, well, hey, anyone should be allowed to attack and kill Jewish people. That's all fine. And then we'll go and protest and blame the Jewish people for it. And then no one in the New South Wales Police, no one at Bondi Station, no one, from inspector upwards thought maybe we should do a risk assessment. Maybe there's some precautions, some preventative measures we could and should put in place that might prevent something if anyone's got anything planned. No one had any forethought, could think that far ahead. And they're saying, well, there's nothing legislative, nothing regulatory that prevented our agencies. It was just ineptitude. ineptitude, no forethought, because we don't have leaders in our police. We just have managers. Something goes wrong and then they manage what goes wrong, but there's no actual leaders. That's the issue. Her interim report also reveals a senior police operations inspector telling officers days before. This is really important, I think. So remember, a senior police operations inspector telling officers days before going on duty for the Bondi Jewish festival, Chanukah, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it, by the sea, targeted in the attack that there was no need to stay the entire duration. That's an inspector of police operations saying that. So inept. You didn't think maybe you should take some precautions. All the events of the last couple of years, all the protests, some of them turning violent, the aggression, the rhetoric coming out of these protests where they are calling for violence against Jewish people, and this inspector, who should not have his job anymore, in my opinion, says, it's all good. It's all, blah, blah, blah. We're Australians. Nothing goes wrong here. Just bury our head in the sand as always. There's no need to stay for the entire duration. Everything's good, mate. Don't have to worry about it. That's the stupidity of this inspector. In the same section, entitled Security Arrangements Involving New South Wales Police, it says Jewish security group CSG New South Wales stated it was advised in a telephone call on 10 or 11 December by an officer of New South Wales Police. So it doesn't say rank or anything. Could have been anyone. Just a first-year Connie there saying New South Wales Police could not provide static resources for the celebration, but that Eastern Suburbs PAC, so Police Area Command, would provide mobile patrols with taskings to check in and monitor the event. Well, that is pathetic. Dare I say, that if this was a different group and it wasn't a Jewish group who had a celebration, a group that maybe likes to talk a bit more, likes to make a bit more of a commotion in the media, and likes to make accusations of, phobias and racisms and all this kinds of thing going on. If it was a different group that wasn't the Jewish community, I bet you the response would have been, maybe we should have a few more marked vehicles getting around, a bit more of a presence in the area to deter any possible nefarious actions which may be planned. I bet you if it was a different group and not the Jewish community, it would be different. Your Prime Minister, not mine, Anthony Albanese, defending federal security agencies following release of the interim report, said it showed legal regulatory frameworks did not hinder the agencies that we are responsible for in either preventing or responding to the Bondi attacks. So he's just regurgitating the rhetoric come out of this, and that there are no urgent changes that are required to keep Australians safe. So like I said, they've just screwed up and no one's taking responsibility. He added countries across the world were facing an increase in anti-Semitism. So if countries all around the world, the whole world is facing increase in anti-Semitism. What? No one thought, well, maybe when they have a celebration celebrating, within the Jewish community, maybe we should take more precautions. But no, our inspector of the police in New South Wales says, hey, you don't even have to stay for the whole duration. It's all good, mate. So there has been a rise in anti-Semitism. That is a global phenomenon that has occurred. This is Anthony Albanese. Brainwave of a Prime Minister he is. So it's a global phenomenon since the October actions of Hamas. That is something that has happened right around the world. The way he talks, it's almost like he's taken a playbook out of Kamala Harris. Let's just talk in riddles and not say anything actually fruitful, not give any information that's worthwhile. Governments need to respond to it. We are responding to it, he said. Is he like the love child of Kamala Harris or something? Nufty. He also reiterated governments could always do better on social cohesion. Wow, that's insightful. That's something that everyone in the community has a role in, he said. Among the 14 recommendations, listen to this. Among the 14 recommendations is for the Australian New Zealand Counter-Terrorism Committee to hold a sweeping review of Australia's joint counter-terrorism teams and call for senior ministers and premiers to undergo counter-terrorism exercises within 9 months of the federal election. That'll be helpful. A 159-page interim report recommends all jurisdictions also prioritise. This is the most important part of the article, because this gets at the heart of it. The only thing they really care about, our government, the bureaucrats, Anthony Albanese, this is all they really care about. The 159-page interim report recommends all jurisdictions also prioritise the national gun buyback scheme. That's all they really care about, the gun buyback scheme. That's all they want. We're not going to hold anyone accountable. An inspector in New South Wales in that area talking about the celebrations beforehand says it'll all be good. You don't even have to wait for the whole, the end of the celebration. Just go ahead. It's all good. Everything's going to be fine, because we like to bury our head in the sand and pretend that we're not part of the rest of the world. We just live in our own little, I don't know. All those protests that's been going on nearly every week for the last couple of years. Don't worry about them. Forget about it. It's all good. We don't. It's always, if the government wants to hold someone accountable, if they decide that you're guilty and they want to hold you accountable, they will make sure you pay. And even if they can't maybe prove that it's your fault, they'll make sure you pay. They'll make sure it costs you. They will wrap you up, tie you down in legalities, in legal costs. That's what they'll do. They will absolutely ruin you financially, ruin your reputation if they decide that it's your fault. You're the one who's responsible for certain actions. But if they don't want anyone, if they don't want to be held accountable, if they don't want a bureaucrat or someone in the police, high-ranking police officer to be held accountable, nothing to hear, nothing to see. We'll put out a report, nothing we could have done, but make sure you buy back everyone else's guns, because we don't want anyone's guns. We don't want anyone being able to defend themselves. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. That's what it's all about. This whole thing is, we don't really care about the Jewish community. We don't want to be held accountable. We will make sure no one will be held accountable, even though it is very easy to see what could have been done to prevent that massacre. Very easy. No one obviously did a risk assessment and thought about the actions, the behaviors of people all around the country over the last couple of years, the behaviors of Hamas from when they attacked Israel a couple of years ago. No one considered any of that. No one considered the possibilities of an attack. No one thought about it at all. There was no risk assessments done. It was just, she'll be right, mate. You don't even have to stay till the end. Maybe we can send across a couple of patrols. Let's see how it goes. It's the Jewish community, so who really cares? Oh, but make sure, now that something's gone wrong, make sure we can buy back guns from those people that probably shouldn't have been in the country anyway. How the heck did they get guns? But we got to make sure we buy back the guns off all the farmers who need it to shoot kangaroos and wild pigs and that. Make sure you buy back your guns. What a crock of rubbish. Let me know what you think. I'm Jay Fallon. This is it's despicable. It's disgusting. Anthony Albanese should be ashamed of himself. The New South Wales Police should be holding several people accountable for failing the Jewish community. There is definitely things, preventative measures that could have been put into place, but someone, if not a group of people, dropped the ball. But the government doesn't want them to be held accountable. All the government cares about is take the guns off people, off responsible people. Let me know what you reckon. What do you think? I'm Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
They just fuel a desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire because nothing's